Natasha, I think we should start.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chaim Rafalovsky. I am the Disaster Management International Cooperation Coordinator for Magen David Adom in Israel, the Red Star of David. Thank you for being here. We are the work package for leaders in No Fear project. May I have the next slide, please? We are here because No Fear, and the coordinator will present in a second the project, is focusing since March this year on lessons learned from the COVID operation, and we are leading the effort to compile lessons learned from the operations, from the operational side of the COVID response. One of the important lessons learned that we have so far is that the frequent use of the I would call them traditional disinfection materials is damaging to the vehicles, to the equipment, and there are other issues that we will discuss shortly. And this is why we started looking around, and we realized that there are many new innovative solutions used today to disinfect equipment and vehicles in the COVID operation. So the idea of this webinar is to allow the providers of those solutions to present their solutions, and Natasha will explain later. We will have more information on the solutions and how to contact the providers on the No Fear portal. And of course, at the end of this session, there will be a short time for Q&A, and we will be more than happy to help and support the communication with the suppliers later after this webinar. Two housekeeping items, please. Those of you who are not talking, please mute yourselves to avoid background noise. I see that some of you still haven't done that, so please, on the bottom left of your screen, there is a mic icon. Please click on that so you are muted. This webinar is being recorded, and by the end of this webinar, No Fear Project will share both the recording as well as the presentations with all the participants of this webinar, as well as posting this on our different social media channels to make more people aware of the work that we are doing. So again, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I wish you all a very fruitful presentation, and without further ado, I pass the word to Dr. Luca Ragazzoni on behalf of our beloved coordinator.
Thank you, Chaim, for this nice presentation. It's a real pleasure for me to present this webinar. I'm Luca Ragazzoni. I'm a medical doctor. I'm here on behalf of CleaMix, the coordinator of the No Fear project. This is one of a series of webinars that we are hosting since March 2020. We have been able to produce a series of webinars in different topics to share knowledge and to engage practitioners, suppliers all over Europe and beyond. We are very proud of this work, because we think that is of paramount importance to share knowledge and experience during the COVID-19 pandemic, to increase the capacity of all over the globe. The No Fear project is a Horizon 2020 project, started in 2017. And so we, the objective of the project is to bring together a pan-European and beyond network of practitioners, suppliers, decision and policymakers to work together and collaborate. Novaerus means, is an acronym of Network of Practitioners for Emergency Medical System and Critical Care. And we are a consortium of 18 partners, among, again, practitioners, academia, suppliers. And our main objective in 5 years is to create a network of more than 150 practitioners and 80 suppliers around Europe and beyond. Again, with the objective of sharing knowledge and experience. We are working along 3 main pillars with transversal expert group. The first one is the acute care of patients, and the second pillar is the acute care operation in security related incident. And this webinar is exactly hosted by Magenda Didadom, who is the work package leader of this pillar. Then the third pillar is the training and education of personnel and volunteers. So another important point of the Novaerus project is our transactional dynamic portal. That is a dynamic catalog where you can find lessons learned and gaps that we have been collecting since the beginning of the project. And apart from this important dynamic portal, we are organizing project events every 6 months. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 is avoiding us to host this project, and we are now working very hard to provide the same experience and knowledge through webinar. Thank you again for being here and listening our webinar today. That is in a topic that is very important for our future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Luca. And our commitment as a project is to keep on sharing knowledge. We all understand that the only way we will be better and stronger in our response to this new pandemic is by sharing knowledge, and this is exactly what we are doing. Natasha, may I have the slide, please? The problem definition is very simple. I think you are all aware of it. If you look into the WHO recommendations, WHO recommendations are that we use hypochlorite solution, 0.1% or 1000 ppm for general disinfection, and 5000 ppm when we are talking about disinfection after contact with a confirmed case. When we do that frequently, and we were at a point where we were bleaching our ambulances 3 times a day with 1000 ppm, we realized that it is highly corrosive. Of course, we knew that beforehand, but it creates damage. It creates damage to our ambulances, to the vehicle itself. It creates damage to the equipment. Many services in the world are reporting the need to replace cables of monitors, of pulse oximeters, tablets that are used in the ambulances. So it has a corrosive effect, to the degree that there are some services, especially the aviation industry, that are not accepting the idea that we will bleach the interior of an airplane or an helicopter, and are requiring special measures as isolation capsules, which are extremely difficult to use in our setting, in the setting of the COVID patient, because they cannot disinfect properly. And on top of that, bleaching has a smell impact. So you have to ventilate the room or the vehicle for a long period of time, which takes them out of service. And of course, they require PPE. This is why we are looking into innovative solutions. And here I will hand over to our colleagues, our dearest colleagues from SAMUR Protección Civil of the city of Madrid, to give their presentation about the way they are doing things. So, Paloma?
Hello, everyone. I believe Paloma might be missing, but I speak in behalf MicroClean, which provided the protocols and also the equipment Samuel Madrid is using. Let me one moment to share the presentation. I believe I'm not being able to.
Manuel, would you like me to share it for you? I have a copy here.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay, 1 second. Okay.
Hello. After the misunderstanding, since I thought I was going to speak a lot later, however, I am Manuel San Martin. I am microbiologist and also the director of biosecurity in MicroClean. We're a company that provides both services, procedures, equipment, and also counseling to our clients about microbiology, biosecurity, disinfection, and so on. In this speech, I'd like to present a slight view of the protocol, but mostly the technology in summer has been using since March, more or less, maybe April, to disinfect their ambulances, the main advantage of this technology is the coverture. This technology is only a induced electrostatic spraying device, so it's not linked to any kind of disinfectant. So it's possible to use several kinds of disinfectants and many brands. So that's a huge advance. And as you can see on the picture on the right, there's a comparative between several kinds of spraying and different treating technologies. And the one on the very right is the bulb sprayed by our technology. You can see the coverture is totally uncanny, and there's a huge save of disinfectant, or well, in this case, UV dye. This UV dye is visible under UV light, and there you can see that all these spraying pumps and triggers can only reach the front side of the bulb, but never the back side, and other electrostatic sprayers with larger droplets that the ones we use make the bulb very, very wet, and in the end this can cause damage to equipment, as we've proven in summer when we tried other technologies. Well, I think that this is the main thing, the main interesting thing of this technology, this coverture that has. But also one thing I want to remark is that it's a technology fairly easy to use, and this and the way you use it avoids cross-contamination, since you can apply the product without getting in contact with the ambulance or the potentially contaminated area. as it has a flow that reaches from 1.5 meters up to 5 meters long. Going to the main topic of the speech, I'd like to speak a little bit of what have happened with this technology here in summer. Well, the data we collected and has proven that our procedures and protocols are pretty good, and they're very successful, since they're being able to disinfect every ambulance in less than 2 minutes. This way, with only one machine, Summer has been able to disinfect at least 100 ambulances every day. But maybe if they wanted, they might be able to disinfect maybe more ambulances, since it gets very, very little time. In this case, the picture is taken of a test we did, in which we will show some results later. And as you can see, the spraying gets all inside the ambulance, and it reaches all the surfaces, and the applicator doesn't need to get inside the ambulance. And even so, the results are pretty good, as I'll show you right away. A very important thing here is that the protocols we developed are made up with disinfectants that are not harmful for the staff, nor the medics, nor the patients that use this space. Well, as a little insight of the test we did here, as you can see in the first graph, there's a comparison between the previous state from the disinfection to the state after disinfection in terms of colonies, aerobes colonies, which means bacteria and fungi and all these guys. As you can see, there's some very good in the original state results, like the stretcher handle and the biowaste crate, which means that these areas were disinfected thoroughly, but other places like the screen of the computer or the tensiometer were terribly contaminated. Even though the disinfection was done with chloride dioxide, which is not the most aggressive disinfectant, the results after all were very, very good, reaching an optimum state, which means that it's under the green line of a sanitary state. As you can see, even so, there were results in the beginning that were above 100 colonies per centimeter per square centimeter. This means that the disinfection was capable to get 99.97% of the colonies disappear, which is a very good result. But even if you go into tougher disinfectants, such as hydrogen peroxide, as you can see down below, there's a picture of the result with bioindicators, in which on the left there are 2 positive controls, and on the right there are the samples in a laboratory and also an ambulance. And as you can see, there was chrome was never shown there, what means that we achieved a level of disinfection that is capable to sterilization. So this disinfection can be very, very, very good in very little time. So it's very effective and also very efficient. And I believe this is all. So thank you for everyone for listening this speech, and a special thanks to No Fear project, and to Summer Madrid, who have invited me to give this speech.
Thank you, Manuel, and thank you so much for stepping in there. You weren't till further down the line, like you said, but obviously Paloma's not currently joined the call, I believe, yet. So thank you again, and we will have time for questions and answers after all the presenters have had a chance to show their new technologies. So if you have any questions, please do add them to the chat functionality, and we'll make a note. Any questions we don't have time to address during the webinar, we will address after the webinar, so we will keep a note of them. Okay, so if we move on then to the next presenter, I believe it's Rob Brunette from Zapsteri. Do we have him on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for asking me to present to this group.
No problem.
I do have some slides, but in the interest of time, I'll probably go fairly quickly. I'm allotted 5 minutes, so
no problem. I can share them for you now. Thank you very much for keeping an eye on the time.
Thank you. So I'll just move right into it. Zapsteri was recently founded by a group of engineers with lots of experience in UV disinfection for the purpose of making UV solutions for COVID-19. Next slide, please. And we can skip to the next slide. And we can skip to the next slide. So what the main point of Zapsteri's SteriSpin technology is for reuse of PPE and decontamination of other physical equipment used in ambulances, long-term care homes, and hospital emergency wards. So right now, the SteriSpin has been deployed by a number of EMS services. The way that it's being used, and there are two versions, a small version, which is about the size of a small refrigerator or wine fridge, and then the larger size, which is about the size of a standard refrigerator, is in the ambulance station after they come back from a call. Basically, they're removing PPE, particularly hard PPE like face shields, soft PPE like surgical masks. Gloves are still being disposed of, but they're also disinfecting tablets, phones, computers, and other, let's say, reusable, mainly hard surface items. Sometimes things like stethoscopes are being disinfected, but more so anything that comes in contact with a patient, they're still using the WHO recommendations for using bleach solutions to basically disinfect those. This is what has been adopted here in Ontario. Next slide, please. So what I'll do is get you to go to the next slide so you can see what I'm talking about, and then I'll come back to this one. So this is the piece of equipment called SteriSpin. So what we have is UV light inside of a disinfection chamber, and those are some face shields. But the main points are that there is a rotating carousel on which devices are hung. There are also shelves, which you don't see in this particular view, at the bottom where devices can be placed. And so either things are hung or placed on shelves and rotated with a carousel. And this is critical because many people have used UV devices and attempted to get registration by Health Canada, US FDA, and others, and have not met the performance objectives that have been set out. And so if we could go to the previous slide, please.
Oh, sorry, one second.
It's okay. The performance objective from the health authorities is 6-log reduction of SARS-CoV-2, but also a variety of challenge or test microorganisms. It is a 6-log reduction of spores, and 3-log reduction of resistant bacteria like MRSA. And the only way that that's been achieved with UV is with this rotating carousel. And part of the reason for that is that UV is a directional source of disinfection. So when it is shined onto a surface, let's say used indiscriminately with a hand wand, first of all, you can't deliver the required dose, and the dose that's been determined by the International UV Association is 1,000 millijoules per square centimeter. With a hand wand, you don't know whether you're delivering that, and you don't know whether you're reaching all dark crevices inside the ambulance. And so by rotating on a carousel and placing things inside of a device, you can ensure that you achieve the recommended dose at all surfaces. And so that's why we've been able to achieve these results, whereas others that just have a fixed lamp irradiating from one side typically don't achieve that. And there's a bunch of science behind light refraction, why, particularly for masks, that rotation thing actually improves the delivery of light through the mask. But I won't get into all of that detail. So there's a bit of a detail here on the science, but I can give more if needed in follow-up questions. And so just now the conclusion. So basically, we are using this UV disinfection modality in Ontario in ambulances and long-term care homes, mainly for PPE, but also for other devices and things that are multi-use. It reduces the amount of bleach solutions that are required, and many of these devices, like computers and things, are quite sensitive, so it's difficult to continuously bleach them. A couple of other things. We also include a UV sensor inside this device, which helps to ensure we receive the recommended dose of 1,000 millijoules, so that it can just be operated with one push button. And that's all, I think, for today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rob. And I know you're traveling, so thank you for taking the time to stop and give us this presentation. It was very interesting. Again, in the interest of time, we will take any questions. And as I believe you have to leave the webinar, we will get in touch with you directly if there's anything specific, and we can put you in contact with the right practitioners.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rob.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, the next supply we have is presented by Ayelet Dagon from CleanBit. Apologies for any mispronunciations. Would you like me to upload the presentation for you?
Yes, please, Natasha. Hi.
Okay, one second. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Ayelet Dagan. I'm the sales manager of CleanBit Environmental Solutions. We're a company that specializes in decontamination, and today I will present you the binary ionization technology, which we are representing in Israel. We are the sole representative in Israel, Middle East, and Africa of TOMI Environmental Solutions from the US. Okay, Natasha, can you please change the slide? Okay. What is binary ionization technology? Basically, we have a solution containing 7.8 hydrogen peroxide that is being transferred as a mist through a cold electric plasma arc. You can see the arc on the left side of the picture. And that transformation is creating a disinfection cloud of radical hydroxyl. This cloud is extremely high capabilities of disinfection. The contact of the hydroxyl mist with the pathogen cells cause the immediate destructions in 7 minutes. Efficiency was proven regarding many types of pathogens, germs, bacteria, spores, viruses, fungi, and much more. Next slide will be seen a small animation that explains the process. So basically, the transformation causes the hydrogen peroxide to become a hydroxyl radical, which has a very high quality of disinfection. So why SteriMist is the best solution? It's very quick and very simple, and it has a very high effectiveness of disinfection with immediate results. It's eco-friendly, it has no chemicals inside, it's non-corrosive. Of course, it's very important for the vehicles. We can be used on electric equipment, medical instruments. There is no residue. There is no need to wipe or wash after the use. You just can ventilate and get right back to work. It reduces the risk of cross-contamination of infections between patients and staff on high-touch surfaces. The quick decontamination service turnaround of vehicles saves time between patient usage. Basically, we have in 15 minutes, we have the whole process completed. Next slide, please. Natasha, next slide. Thank you. Okay. All right. So what happened during the COVID-19 period? Since February 2020, the COVID pandemic started to spread all over. In the first line of defense, of course, stands Magen David Adom staff who works days and nights evacuating corona patients. Madam Management was looking for an efficient, fast, and environment-friendly technology that would not cause any damage in order to disinfect the ambulances after suspicious or verified patients were in them. They explored a few technologies. They made lab tests with a few vehicles a few times, and the conclusions were very good regarding to the ability to decontaminate the whole of the vehicle inside with all the instruments without causing any damage. And they purchased a lot of systems for disinfecting ambulances all over Israel. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a video that's showing exactly the process of decontaminating. You can see we can reach every spot inside the ambulance. It's a little slow. You can see that every square centimeters is being decontaminated in a very short time, something like 7 minutes of decontaminating the whole ambulance and another 10 minutes to ventilate the hydrogen peroxide. The half-life of hydrogen peroxide is very short. So if you open the ambulance windows and doors, it will be very quick. Finally, I want you to see the regulations and recognitions of this technology, this unique technology was originally was developed by DARPA. DARPA developed it in 2001 in order to be able to destroy and disinfect every kind of field and every kind of biological threat and viral pandemic. 2017, the WHO recommended this technology, the binary ionization technology, as a promising disinfection technology. This technology is also recommended to use in the lists of the EPA for MRSA and Clostridium and the SARS-CoV-2 by the CDC organization. And of course, the EPA, which is the regulation body in the USA, in March this year approved this technology against emerging viral pathogens. And it is registered in the FDA as a medical device. And of course, the Israeli Ministry of Health approved it. It's a special approval called AMAR, so we can be in all the hospitals and medical organizations in Israel. That's it for today.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting to see the actual video of it working as well. It was very clear. Again, if you've got questions, please do add them to the chat and we can hopefully address some of them after all the presentations have finished. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, the next person we have on the list is Thomas Schmidt-John from Plasmatreat. Do we have Thomas?
Yes.
Excellent.
Can you hear me?
Just a quick reminder, yes, we can hear you. Would you like me to share your presentation?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, you should be able to see it in a second.
Okay, so my name is Thomas Schmidt-John, and I'm responsible for the Plasma Life Science Department at Plasmatreat. And I will like to introduce the sterilization with plasma activated water vapor, which might be a new emerging technology. Thanks. What is plasma? Okay, it's frequently called the fourth state of matter, and it's just ionized gas. So it is on Earth found in lightnings and perhaps in the northern light. So on Earth it's a rather a rare state of matter, but in the universe it's quite frequently because all stars consist of plasma. The next slide, please. Plasmatreat is a small company in Germany, but we act worldwide. And we are a supplier of atmospheric plasma technology. And this technology has been made available for the industry processes. The next slide, please. And nowadays, plasma technology from Plasmatreat is used in all kinds of industries for industrial surface activation, cleaning, and also for coating of surfaces. But anyway, the next slide, please. It is long known that plasma has also an antibacterial properties, and therefore we have worked on sterilization processes using plasma. However, plasma sterilization or plasma disinfection is not yet an approved procedure. So there's work to do, but I will try to follow up that and show that it might be very useful in pandemic control. Next slide, please. In the course of a research project called Decon, we have developed a new plasma source which is able to decontaminate people and equipment in case of pandemic situations. And the next slide, please. such a plasma disinfection unit would look like that. It consists of a plasma jet, an evaporator, and a gas sensor, which is for the aid of the process control. The evaporator is required because we add to the plasma a little bit of water vapor, and this accelerates the antibacterial effectiveness dramatically. So in fact, what we are talking about is not plasma itself, but it is plasma combined with water vapor, and so we get plasma activated or plasma treated water vapor. Next slide, please. Here we can see the effectiveness. We reach relatively rapidly 6-log reduction. That means by a factor of 1 million, we can reduce the bacterial load on a surface when placed in a small cabinet in a room. In this case, we have used for test purpose a 300-liter glove box and attached the before demonstrated plasma source and filled the room with the atmosphere, a mixture of plasma and water. And the left diagram shows that it is necessary to include moisture in this setup. But anyway, we can reach 6-log reduction within a few minutes in this cabinet. And this holds for vegetative bacteria, but also for bacterial endospores, like here Bacillus atrophius or subtilis spores. The next slide, please. And with such a single plasma source, it is possible to disinfect a complete ambulance car. So wherever you place inoculation within the ambulance, you can reach it all. And so it's because it's a kind of moisture, it's gas combination with water vapor, and it reaches all areas in the ambulance. And it's relatively careful. We have repeated that a couple of times, and we have not observed any damage to any surface. The next slide, please. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, we all know that there was in the beginning a shortness of personal protection equipment like masks. And so we were asked by the Bavarian Red Cross if we could build or combine the this Decon plasma unit with a sterilization cabinet. And in fact, we did that. The next slide, please. And the current cabinets look pretty much like that. Stainless steel cabinets with equipped with plasma units in this case on top, and a small generator that provides the power, and you can put whatever in this cabinet and you get it sterilized within a sterilization procedure of about 30 minutes. The next slide, please. One of those first prototypes were delivered to the Bavarian Red Cross, and they have tested it under field conditions for the disinfection of masks and things like that. Next slide, please. And what we can reach is, in fact, with the latest types of these cabinets, we can reach a 6-log reduction with bacterial endospores on various surfaces, and this already after 5 minutes in the cabinet. So it is very efficient. However, we have not yet results from antiviral testing, and that I should admit. So we don't know exactly if it works against a virus, but I assume it will, because since from our experience, bacterial endospores are the most stable life forms we know. And therefore, I assume that viral testing will also result in inactivation. Next slide, please. Besides masks, there was a shortage in ventilator tubes. And so we also designed an adapter where we can attach these kinds of ventilator tubes and get them sterilized from inside and outside at the same time using the same cabinet. The next slide, please. This is also a very efficient thing because we can reach within a short period of time the 6-log reduction of bacterial endospores. The next slide, please. So taken together, we have designed these kinds of sterilization cabinets, which can handle all kind of medical equipment. And this is very easy to handle, just push a button and it starts. There's nothing else required than a bit of power, a small amount of water, and air. That's all. And there is no chemicals you have to provide. There's nothing. So you get sterilization very easy and very fast. And there is no further precaution to where you take care of. So thank you for your attention. I hope that's a bit interesting for you.
Thank you very much. Yes, it certainly was, and thank you for getting a lot of information in such a short time frame. As I said before, there will be time later on for questions, but also, as Hein mentioned earlier, we will be sharing the presentations via the NoFear networks after the webinar as well. So I'm sure further questions will come in following those sharing of presentations. Thanks again for that. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay, the next supplier we have is Dieter Rothbacher from CBRN Protection, if he is on the call.
Hello, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent, thank you. I will just find your presentation for you. Okay, you should be able to see it, so whenever you're ready. Perfect.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. Also, special thanks to Noel Mitchell. He's also one of the participants because he pointed us in the direction of this project and therefore gives us the opportunity to present what we have. Next slide, please. So, I mean, everybody knows why we're here, and I listened with great interest to the last presentations, and a lot of them were quite technical solutions. And what we have now is something that is really new, basically developed, finalized this year, and it's called Biological Safety Decontamination Technology. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, it is it's an Austrian product, and it contains a patented technology from Germany. There are two companies involved. I'm from CBRN Protection, so I'm more the business development, sales, and the technical consultant arm. And you have the producer, which is also an Austrian company, and that's Clean Nature Solutions. Next slide. So basically, I mean, what is this product? And we all have listened with great interest to the previous presentations. Now here we have something extremely basic. It's a powder product, and it's of great interest to us because it's extremely easy to use. And all you need is the powder and some water, and you can decontaminate, as you can see on the screen, bacteria, mold, spores, viruses, and also other pathogens. And what you need, as well as this whole set consists of 3 components, is the boost. You need a liquid booster for the Decon solution for spores. And you also have a testing kit, so you can test if the solution is still working, meaning when you have prepared it and you had it sit somewhere for a day or two with those test strips, you can still test it. You can use it, as it says here, in temperatures from 10 to 90 degrees Celsius, and you can decontaminate surfaces of all sorts. And all sorts really means, as also the picture in the background says, also computers, electronics. Of course, it contains water, so you got to be careful, but it's not corrosive. It is really safe to use. And as I mentioned before, it's a patent protected formulation. Next slide, please. So what is BSDT? And what is of interest here, apart from not going to read out all the bullet points to you, one thing that is extremely interesting that I'd like to point out, you can use it on all sorts of surfaces, equipment, infrastructure, terrain, and also on skin. So it's also safe to be used on skin. And furthermore, it can be used with all existing decontamination equipment. And I come to that a bit later as well. And it's extremely easy to use. As I said, it's powder. You mix it in drinkable water, and there you go. You're ready to go. And you can store it. The powder can be stored for up to 10 years, which is also, I think, quite important, the storage component of it. Next slide. So, and here, how can you use it? As I said before, you can use it on all sorts of, and with all sorts of decon equipment. You can spray it, nebulize it. You can dip, soak, wipe, foam, whatever you prefer. So you can use it with anything you basically have in hands. You can use a sprayer. You can use just a rug to spread it. You can also nebulize it. So whatever you actually prefer and what equipment you have at hands. Next slide, please. And here I come back to the slide number 2, actually, why we are here, because as mentioned in some of your introductory remarks, you're looking for something that is not corrosive and is really safe to use on any type of surface. And this one is. And tests were done, and there's no corrosion effects whatsoever after 20 minutes of contact time. And as I said before, this can even be used on skin. Next one, please. So how does it work? So you have here a scheme. It's a 4-stage process. And the technology is based upon a synergistic mechanism. And so basically it contains elements that are well known. There's nothing new to it, but it's patented and protected now for many, many years. And this leads to, as it also says here, acidic hydrolysis of microbial cell structures. So it's extremely effective, log 4, log 5, easily achievable, even with 1 or 2 minutes of contact time. Next slide. Tests have been run, multiple tests have been run, and you can see the test methods and the standards here. Of course, as I mentioned before, this is a new product. So one of the downsides of being a biocidal product is that it falls under the PPR, biocidal product regulation. And therefore, this has not gone through the entire approval process, which can take up to 1 year. So, and therefore, if somebody has interest in the product, even to use it, to get test samples and to see it works, and they do not require the biocidal product registration, please feel free to contact us, and we are happy to send you samples of the product. Next one, please. So again, this is a table that outlines how to use it. And the concentration is you need a certain amount of powder per liquid, and this is 1.5%. So you need 15 grams of powder for 1 liter. And as you can see here, the contact time, for instance, for viruses is extremely short. So we're talking 1 or 2 minutes. So you spray it, and after 2 minutes, you're actually good to go. You're safe. The only thing that takes a bit longer, as mentioned before, is when you have to use the booster. The booster needs to be added. That's a liquid that needs to be added to the powder and the water. And then you need longer because, as I said, those are spores, and spores are much more difficult to decontaminate. Next one, please. So what does it look like? So it comes in bags. So bags of 150, 1.5, and 15 kilos. I mean, if a client wants to have them differently, we can package them differently, meaning in different sizes and volumes. But in essence, if you have 1.5 kilos, as I said, it's easy then to come up with 100 liters of Decon. You just take the 1.5, put it in whatever bucket you use, you mix it, and you have a Decon solution that is ready to go. Again, our emphasis and our priority was to have something on the market that can be used by anyone without having to use technical and expensive equipment. So here, this can be used by anyone that has a bucket to mix it, that has a rug and gloves to bring it out. Next one, please. Decon and the boost. So this is the boost that comes as a liquid. As I mentioned before, you have to add 10%, so 100 grams of boost per liter to make sure it works also against spores. Next one. And the last one, if you have something already mixed and you had it sit for 6, 8, 10, 12, 24 hours and you're in doubt that it's still active and it still works, it comes even with the test strips. So you use them, it's like similar to pH paper, and it's extremely easy to use. You take it out, you have a color code, and you compare it, and if it's yellowish, you have to discard the solution. And if it's in the other color areas, greenish, bluish, then you can still use the solution. Next one. So again, it's efficient, safe, and easy to use. It doesn't harm any surfaces. It comes in powder form, therefore you can store it for a long time. You can have it in your vehicle for a long time, and you just have to open the aluminum pouch, put it in water, stir it, and you're good to go. You can spray it. You can soak items in it. There's no problem at all. And we're also equipped against spores with the boost. And as you see here on the picture, we also have the possibility to test if the solution is still efficient. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. That was very interesting. It's good to see the different technologies available and how much they vary. So yes, thank you very much for that. Again, any questions, please do add to the chat. Okay, the next presenter we have is Laura Guilera, and she is from Vesismin. Are you? I can see you, Laura. Perfect.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good.
Good. I will just find your presentation for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Laura, and I'm the manager for new customers and new channels at Vesismin Health. We are a team extremely 100% committed to prevent infections with more than 17 years of experience in that field. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as actually I told you, we are extremely committed in the healthcare sector, but as you know, the last month has been a bit crazy because with the coronavirus, we actually are working with so many different areas, and we have quite a bit of experience with ambulances as well. Next slide, please. We are extremely committed as well to the systems of quality and innovation. You can see here some of the certifications that we got as well. And we were awarded for the Ministry of Spain and Economy and Competitiveness in 2016. Next slide. So as I said, we are a company from Spain, but we are working in so many different markets, and we are working very hard to expand our products around the world as well. Next, please. In terms of products, for us, we think that it's extremely key choosing the right product. And of course, talking about healthcare, it's very, very important to have the right product, and if it's possible, the best in class. Considering these 5 different factors, needs to be easy, needs to be quick, needs to be effective, needs to be innocuous and multi-purpose as well. Next slide. So talking in the ambulance sector, for us, it's very, very important just to have a terminal disinfection. With the product that actually I'm going to talk to you guys is especially like for terminal disinfection, but we have some countries right now, especially like France, USA, and Spain as well, that they are using the system that I'm going to talk about. It's just, it's very, very common, and they are using this product for their daily basics. Next, please. So here it is. This is our product. This product offers an airborne disinfection for clinical surfaces and equipment. The one that you have here in the slide is the small one. So we have 2 different presentations. The small one is 50 mils and the other one is 300. Depending about the area that you want to disinfect, we recommend using the small one or the big one, depending about the area, of course. Sometimes we recommend using 2 small ones just to reach more different areas. The system is extremely easy to use as well. It's just a one-shot product, and then it releases the active ingredients and the gas that actually it is inside. Talking about the gas, it's actually really, really important to consider that we are talking about a propellant gas. It's an ecological gas, and it's eco-friendly as well. So many customers they just ask us about this point, and we actually keep in mind always that it's very, very important to consider it. The gas is not flammable as well, and it offers a broad biosafety spectrum, considering that it's actually very, very effective against bacteria, microbacteria, fungi, virus, and of course, coronavirus. Furthermore, I would love to say that it's fully compatible with all kind of materials and surfaces, and it does not stain any kind of materials. Next, please. So you are gonna see here, here on the slide, the efficacy. I'm not gonna go through all the efficacy certifications because I'm actually pretty sure that you know a lot. Our customers now, they always ask about the same things, like just make sure that the product, of course, has the right certification for the EN 14476 against virus, and especially coronavirus. You're gonna find here the composition and the different presentations, as I actually said previously. Next, please. Natasha told me that we only have 5 minutes just for our presentations, but if you want to know more, this video is actually really, really good. You're gonna find this video on YouTube. You have here the link, and it talks about the right usage, and it actually have the advantages as well of the product. It's not specifically for the ambulance sector, but it's gonna actually give you a right idea that how it works and how actually we are using it. Next, please. So just a quick recap of the advantages for the product. So as I actually told you, it has a wide biocidal range. It's certified as well, of course, for healthcare facilities. But let me tell you that we actually are having so many different customers, such as airlines, schools, other actually sectors that they are actually really happy to, and they have started using the product as well. The gases are non-flammable, non-toxic, and ecological friendly as well. The product itself, it's compatible with medical and electronic devices. It does not hard materials, which actually it's really good. And at the last of not the least, but I would actually I would like to talk about the mindset that offers the product to healthcare professionals, because they told us that it gives us a lot of confidence, because once they just finish the service and they just use the Air Total at the end of the day, they actually have 100% confidence that their ambulance is completely ready for the next service the next day. Next slide, please. Just talking about, it's very important to consider that before to use the product, you need to consider that the ambulance needs to be clean. We can disinfect something that is actually dirty, so needs to be clean manually, and then apply the product just to make sure that we are going to disinfect, and just the terminal disinfection is going to take place. Next, please. And the next one. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So in ambulances here, from Vesismin, we developed 2 different materials that we actually think that we are using to help, in order to help healthcare professionals to use the product. So first, we developed the deep cleaning and disinfection, the checklist for deep cleaning for the ambulances. So it's just this, well, it's actually behind the slide, but so we are using this material in order to offer healthcare professionals how to actually just make sure that the ambulance is extremely clean in each area of the ambulance before to use the product. So they just can check all the different areas on all what they need to do before to use the product. Sorry. And the next one, please. Next one. Yeah, and this is actually a detailed protocol, a special only for ambulances, that shows how to use the product as only for this sector. So it's really good, because people who is using the product inside the ambulance, they just can have these protocols and the checklist always, just to make sure that, you know, like it's the product is used in the right premises. Next one, please. And just talking about our portfolio, just very quick. So Air Total is an amazing product to use in ambulances, but we also have different products that, you know, we can offer, especially in this sector, just antiseptics products to disinfect surfaces, and instrumental as well. Next one. Just, yeah, some pictures about the products. I'm not going to talk about all of them, of course, but if you just need further information, just feel free to contact me. Next one, please. Yeah, so that's it. So thank you so much for your attention today, and please do not hesitate to contact us, because we are going to be more than happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. That was very interesting, especially the eco-friendly aspect, and also the fact you touched on the psychological benefits for the healthcare workers. And of course, we will go ahead and share your presentation and your link to the video on YouTube, so that'll be sent out to our networks as well. But like she said, if you have any questions, please do feel free to contact her.
Thank you.
Okay, the next supplier we have is Kieran McBrien. Do we have him on the call?
Yep. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I will find your presentation.
Super. Well, just one word of warning in advance. I intend to go through this at warp speed. So if you can keep up with the slide changing. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the interesting presentations. Have you found that, Natasha?
Nope. 1 second. I should have it.
I can tell a joke in the meantime if you like.
If you have any good ones, that would be fantastic right now.
No, only crappy ones.
There's always one second, I'll find it in the email.
This is eating into my 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, can you start without it?
Yeah, I can actually. I'll start without it because I was only intending to use it as a kind of a prop anyway. Okay, Novaerus. We're an Irish company. We're currently marketing our solutions in over 60 companies, including Spain, where our very good friends from Equipos Médicos Biológicos are being extraordinarily successful in marketing the solution throughout the Spanish market. Fundamentally, we do something which, from a philosophical point of view, is different to the other solutions that have been presented. First of all, we treat the air, and we treat the air continuously. Our strap is closing the infection control loop. Everybody has left the air alone because it's too difficult to deal with. Well, we deal with it. We've a range of, can you just start moving through this, Natasha? We've a range of compact, just move on, compact, there's our three main products, compact solutions based on our own iteration of plasma. It's a plasma-based technology. Our plasma and the way in which we produce and maintain our plasma field is unique. We have patented it worldwide. We do not ionize outside the machine. Our plasma field, if we could put it this way, almost doesn't exist. It exists on and around our coils inside the machines, and contact with the coils or the immediate vicinity of the coils is incredibly inimical and destructive of the biological structure of all kinds of pathogens. And I can even show you synchrotron generated pictures to show that. The fact that the plasma is generated on and around a coil means that we can make the machines extremely small and compact. The Protect 200 is roughly the size of a shoebox. The Protect 800 is approximately the size of two large pizza boxes on top of each other. Those two are the main continuously running products. And the large machine on the right, which is kind of like a small refrigerator, is used for very quick remediation in operating theaters, ICUs, oncology wards, offices, school classrooms, etc., etc., etc. That machine can shift up to about 1,000 cubic meters per hour. The other two machines, as I said, are designed for continuous running. And if you move on, please, Natasha. We concentrate on air. As I say, close the infection control loop. We are fairly happy and confident that the most dangerous route of transmission of COVID-19 is not hands and not surfaces. I'll just say that again. It's not hands and it's not surfaces. It's actually aerosols. It's droplets and aerosols. Droplets travel further than people are being told, and aerosols travel very long distances indeed on air currents. I just ask you to consider one thing. If I drop a brick and a feather, the feather will tend not to hit the ground because of air resistance. It's the same with droplets, and it's the same with aerosols. They travel very, very long distances. So ignoring the air is basically sticking one's head in the ground. And I put one other picture in people's heads. I ask you to consider this question. If we had evolved as intelligent fish, if we were mermaids and mermen underneath the water in our institutions, what would we spend all of our time disinfecting and cleaning? I venture to suggest the answer is not surfaces or fins. I venture to suggest the answer would be water. So leaving that for you to ponder, that's a cutaway of a machine. The fan pulls air into the machine. The machine floats over the coils where a dielectric barrier discharge, which we're marketing under nanostrike, takes place. The air is plasma sized, and pathogens and a wide range of organic compounds in that airstream are immediately annihilated. If you just move on, just float a picture of the larger machine. Just keep scrolling through, Natasha, if you don't mind, please. I'd like not to. Indoor air, if we move on. Droplets and aerosols I've already spoken to. They travel very, very long distances. And here I'd like to make a further differentiation. Airborne transmission and airborne dissemination. COVID-19 is undoubtedly transmitted through the air and inhaled into the upper and lower respiratory tracts. There's no more doubt about that, despite what people might say. The secondary effect, though, is equally impossible, airborne dissemination. And by that I mean the transmission of infectious pathogens on air particles traveling around institutions very long distances. And that includes MRSA, it includes Clostridium difficile, it includes Acinetobacter baumannii, it includes a very, very wide range of pathogens are proven in a wide range of public studies to travel wide distances inside facilities on air currents. We refer to that as airborne dissemination. We just move on. So we deal with both of those. We move on quickly, Natasha. Everybody's aware of the problem of HIAIs in many countries. Let's not dwell on that. Closing the infection control loop. Dealing with surfaces and hands is of course important, but unless you're dealing with the air as well in an effective way, your regime, your protocol is not complete. Dealing with the air cuts off direct airborne transmission, as I've said. It also significantly reduces dissemination because less falls on surfaces. There are fewer contact points for hands. That's the fundamental concept. If we move on, thank you, Natasha. So moving on again, please. So we're branding our technology, we're releasing this word as NanoStrike. We're calling it NanoStrike because the technology is proven to work in nanoseconds and on molecules down to 1 nanometer. We move on. So where we fit inside plasma is clearly non-thermal plasma. Plasma DBD, dielectric barrier discharge, that is the sector into which we fit. The other side of that is ionization centric. We do not ionize. We are an iteration of one which we have, as I say, patented worldwide. And the deactivation takes place in a very narrow zone on our coil and in the immediate vicinity of the coil, where we kill and destroy at the DNA level. And the insight that was gained, not by me, but by our scientists, is that you can reduce the plasma, you can reduce and reduce and reduce, but if you can keep it stable in a location and bring the pathogens to it, it's very, very powerful at destruction. If we can move on. So there's a whole bunch of different effects happening at the same time, stretching the cells, electroporation, there's a bombardment by charged particles inside the field, there's very low levels of UV radiation, UV photons, and finally, the microorganism collapses under osmotic pressure. And we have dozens of tests and dozens of studies underlying this. If we move on, for example, some pictures here taken in a test published together with a NASA Ames laboratory in California. This is published and peer-reviewed, destroying Staphylococcus in real time. Moving on. Similarly to here, looking at the effect on fungal spores, also published and peer-reviewed, Aspergillus niger spore being destroyed. And finally, the last one should be a Staphylococcus, if you move on. Oh, sorry, no, that's the other presentation. So applications, coming to the end of this now, you'll be glad to hear, all through healthcare facilities, because as someone mentioned earlier on, we are getting increasing requests and applications in schools, offices, kindergartens, all kinds of indoor facilities who are interested in us because we've been so successful up to now in healthcare facilities. We're probably currently nearly in 1,500 hospitals worldwide and a wide range of emergency vehicles as well. So operating theaters is one example. Sorry, Natasha, moving on, I'm trying to stick to any time here. Intensive care units, high numbers of invasive units, significant particle contamination in the air. The patients are immunocompromised. The continuous use of the machines, the fact that they run 24 hours a day, every day, and are continuously reducing the bioburden in that environment shows that, or leads to a significant reduction in infections. One very quick statistic, or one very quick observation, in Hungary, in Budapest, Uzói Hospital, our machines were running for 3 months, continue to run, in the COVID-19 ward. They tested all the staff in that ward at the end of the 3 months for antibodies for COVID-19. Not one of the 60 people working in that unit showed or displayed antibodies to COVID-19. Now, clearly they were doing other things as well, not just using our machines, but the average across the Hungarian health center health system for COVID antibodies in health staff was between 8 and 10%. In our unit where the machines were running, it was 0. Now, can I put that in a paper in the Lancet? No, I can't. It's just a significant and interesting data point, nothing more, but we can show similar results elsewhere. Moving on. Patient wards, I've spoken about already. If we move on, emergency and waiting rooms and emergency vehicles. We've installed the machines in ambulances and general emergency response. It's not the original purpose for which they were developed, but they have been adapted and are used quite successfully for staff protection. As I say, not point in time disinfection. Most of the industry is focused on a disinfection in a point in time, and many studies show that within 15 minutes to half an hour after any disinfection, the bioburden climbs again. So we're not looking for a point in time disinfection. We are a continuous mitigation of risk and reduction of the bioburden in any given indoor location, which is critical in the healthcare solution or setting. Moving on, an area where we're also success in vitro fertilization, where we started working with our EMB friends. The embryos and the fertilized ova are very sensitive to all kinds of pathogens in the air, but also to volatile organic compounds, which we reduce very successfully as well. I think the next one is the last slide. Senior living facilities where elderly people, and where in fact COVID-19 has raged and caused a dreadful Holocaust in many different countries, including the UK and Germany and France and Ireland. Significant amounts of airborne transmission shown in those facilities. A major study in Canada in 2015, the Laval University study, focusing on norovirus as opposed to the current virus, showed huge numbers or huge amounts of live and viable norovirus in the air across all kinds, 8 different hospitals and senior living facilities, including in the rooms of patients, in hallways and at nursing stations. So reducing that vector, both the airborne transmission and the airborne dissemination in these facilities, is extremely important as an additional measure. I think the next one should be the last one. Yeah, schools, childcare, etc. I've mentioned. So if we move on, I think I've finished. I have a lot of data. Safety and efficacy, all those tests have been passed. Huge numbers of studies we have on our website, verified independently. A lot of data to show the effectiveness of this, our nanostrike plasma technology at removing live pathogens from the air and preventing the buildup on surfaces and hands. All available on our website, all available on demand, and all of the ULs and CE tests are all met and all available. Okay, I'll draw a line under it there. Just finally, close the infection control loop, continuous air disinfection, 24 hours a day, all indoor environments, all healthcare facilities, all critical areas, compromised patients, including emergency vehicles. Thanks. I've gone really quickly, but I'm just trying to make time for other people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kieran. Thank you. That was an incredibly quick presentation. To fit in 28 slides was quite impressive. I will share them so people can read through it a bit more slowly and at their own leisure. But thank you for that. It was very interesting.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, two more suppliers to present then. So we have Emma from CleaMix, if she's on the call.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for the invite.
Perfect. I will just find your presentation for you.
Yes, please. So my name is Emma Nykeri, and I'm from CleaMix. I'm the training manager of CleaMix, and we have developed and we are manufacturing these new scalable decontamination devices for combating viruses, bacteria, fungi, mold, and other harmful contaminants. So as I mentioned, we have the decontamination devices for combating the harmful contaminants. So our decontamination devices offers a revolutionary solution for the decontamination of, for example, logistic facilities, transport vehicles and containers, sterile disposable equipment, hospitals, and packaging materials. As we were established in 2016, our decontamination system was initially designated for neutralizing biological and chemical warfare agents in military use. And our most important partners from the very beginning has been Finnish Defence Forces and National Research Laboratory of Finland. So our solution provides a stable generation and adequate distribution of H2O2 agent together with high quality monitoring. The accurate and repeatable decontamination conditions ensures the correct contact times for up to 6 log microbial reduction on all surfaces and objects and in air in the enclosures. Our smart, powerful, and easily portable decontamination units can eliminate all harmful contaminants safely, such as COVID-19, SARS, MERS, Candida auris, anthrax, fungi, mold, super-resistant bacteria, and lots of more. And as you can see on the right side of the slide, there is the descending order of microbial resistance to VHB. And it includes also the bacterial spores, which are the most resistant microorganisms. Our decontamination system is scalable. We have the VCS100CR master unit that can be networked together with the VCS EXT extension units that enables us to have practically unlimited volume of the treatable space. Then, as we have produced the hydrogen peroxide vapor into the enclosure, we have the catalytic converters for the accelerated removal of the HB vapor that enables us to make the decontamination cycle as fast as possible. Then we have also the HB270 series sensor suite that is developed and manufactured by Vaisala Ltd. We offer a superior solution to the conventional biodecontamination methods and systems. Our devices are simple to set up and operate. It is compact and designed for mobile decontamination. You can just specify the desired H2O2 concentration and duration, and the unit takes care of the rest. And even 1 liter of H2O2 liquid goes a long way with our decontamination units, since the efficiency of using the hydrogen peroxide solution is up to 90%. So we are now setting the new standards for the industry. The Vaisala sensor suite offers us the real-time monitoring of the H2O2 concentration, humidity, and relative saturation point. The real-time adjustment of the H2O2 vapor output with the sensor helps us to maintain or enables us to maintain the desired decontamination parameters, and it reduces the risk of accumulating condensation to surfaces. We have very intuitive user experience. The sophisticated control software can be used for remote controlling of the devices. So the devices are making the work in the enclosure, and you can just remote control it from outside of the enclosure by computer, tablet, or mobile phone via cable or Wi-Fi connection. The automatic process control is based on real-time sensor data and program parameters that can be such as temperature, relative humidity, relative saturation, and concentration in ppms. The hydrogen peroxide vapor decontamination offers reliable and consistent results. Since the hydrogen peroxide vapor provides an excellent penetration into the hard-to-reach locations that can't be reached out by manually. And of course, hydrogen peroxide vapor's sporadizo efficiency is excellent, and it is very material friendly. With hydrogen peroxide vapor, it can be used to decontaminate even the most sensitive electronics, electronic components, medical devices, and all kinds of materials. So our solution offers an environmentally friendly decontamination method, since the hydrogen peroxide vapor degrades into water and oxygen without leaving any traces. So there's no need for swiping or weeping after the decontamination process. Thank you all for listening, and let's make the world safe again.
Oh, thank you so much for that, and so sorry for the technical issues at the start. I'm glad we managed to listen and see your presentation. It was very interesting.
It's okay. Thank you for inviting
No
me.
problem, you're welcome. We will share your presentation after the webinar as well for people to ask questions if they have further questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the final presentation is from Ilan, presenting the MDF 500 solution. I'm going to ask Matt to kindly share your presentation, if that's okay.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
I think they're all on mute, but yes, we can absolutely hear you.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. My name is Ilan. I'm the CEO of Seal Engineering. We are the distributors of Spun World Distribution, which are the manufacturers. Leave it, please. Don't change. Yeah, thank you. They are the manufacturers of the MDF 500. I'm representing them today because they're stuck in the middle of a hurricane, so I hope that they're okay. I wanted to say we are working today with MADA, with the Israeli Ambulance Organization. The MDF 500 is being used in Israel, of course, in the ambulances in New Zealand, and in other countries as well, and of course the United States. I'll tell you about it. Please change. Thank you. Okay, the MDF 500 is actually was initially developed to decontaminated biological and chemical warfare by the U.S. government. It was manufactured by Spun World and was checked in Sandia National Laboratories. It is very, very safe and effective and has a very broad spectrum to use against fungal and against all kinds of germs. And after the first pandemic, which was I think in 2002 of SARS, the American government asked to check and to find decontaminated solution that can work against the SARS, which is basically the coronavirus. So the Sandia laboratories did a very broad, let's say, laboratory experiment, and they found out that the MDF 500 kills the coronavirus in less than 60 seconds. So it's a very, very effective solution. It can use in a very broad ways. You can spray it, you can foam it. It is very effective in ULV sprayers. You can use it in electrostatic sprayers as well, very effective. It of course is in the EPA registered in the N list. And it's a patent technology, which I'll talk about in a moment. Please go to the next one. Okay, first of all, the MDF makes a very safe workplace. It makes a complete decontamination of the whole structure. Okay, you can use it inside the air-conditioned systems. You can use it on the surfaces. You do not have to do anything basically to use it. You don't have to tear out any equipment. You can use it on computers. You can use it on paper. You can use it anywhere. The only thing maybe you should cover is some oil paintings and fish bowls or any pets around. You should take out. Please go to the next one. Let's talk about the benefits of it. It's non-flammable at all. The residue that is left after the vipers are completely dry are non-harmful. It's biodegradable and extremely environmentally friendly, so there's no harm at all using it in any environment. The log kill is one of the highest in the world. It's has a 7 log kill. There are just not too many laboratories that can even check that, but that's how they got to it. It is very safe to use around sensitive electronics, and has, as I said, a very wide range of applications. In Israel, we're using it, of course, in ULV sprayers, but we built a protocol for MADA, for the ambulances, and basically you can use it in so many ways, so you do not need a system. You can just use it in a sprayer. You can just wipe it down. Please change. Okay. It has absolutely no corrosive repercussions. If you compare it to bleach, okay, you can see that the coupons, steel coupons, after 24 hours with bleach, this is what happens. Okay. Go back. Okay. Distilled water also exposure. And you can see in the middle basically what happens with the MDF. Move to the next one, please. Okay. Where you can use it, of course, we're using it inside ambulances, but you can use it basically anywhere. Okay. It is there is a commercial version, which is the MDF 500, the military version, which is the MDF 200. But it's basically, you can use it in banks and healthcare facilities, nursing homes, schools, of course, sport facilities, airports, and all public transportation, and ambulances as well. Please go on. How does it work? Basically, it is two very, very effective disinfecting agents, which added to it stabilizers, okay, the quarantine ammonium and the hydroperoxide, which are very strong, but once they are mixed together, which is A and B, they are basically, the HP goes below 9, and then it becomes non-corrosive at all. So you can use it anywhere. How it works, it basically penetrates the biofilm, okay, it goes under the biofilm, it attacks the cell, which are, and then penetrates inside and kills inside. Yes, please go to the next one. Okay, the packaging, you can go from a wide range of packaging, which you can see on the screen now. And just move to the last one. Okay, that's it. Okay, basically any technical protocol and application related to this product, you're more than welcome to turn to Spawn World. They will help you in anything you need all around the world. That's it. Thank you very much. Be healthy.
Thank you very much for that, Ilan. That was very interesting. I believe there is a video on YouTube you have, which we're happy to again share after the webinar. As part of the No Fear project, just to close the webinar, we have been also looking into an additional topic, and that's the use of PPE during the COVID-19 pandemic. We do have a link to a very, very short survey, and we would be very grateful if you had 10 minutes to spare and you think you have a solution for the 3 key areas, which, to summarize, are the limited availability of PPE in terms of quality, comfort and safety when using them, the sense of depersonalization of PPE and the relevant strategies that some of the suppliers and practitioners have identified, and also the concept of the safe disposable of PPE and the environmental impact, which I believe we have touched on here with the idea of disinfecting some of the PPE that is worn. So if you do have some solutions and you would like to contribute, we'd be very grateful. If the link's not on the screen, I'm quite happy to share it after the webinar. So that's it from my side. Really a big, huge thank you to everyone that has taken the time to present and to everyone that has joined the webinar and listened to the presentations. I hope you found them as interesting and as useful as I did. Chaim, do you have any final words?
Just to thank everyone, the suppliers and those who listened. I hope we managed to bring new solutions to the knowledge of everyone. We will keep on trying to bring together suppliers researchers and end users together. This is our objective as a project. And part of it is the survey about the PPE and that everyone is being using now, and we understand that there are issues, and we need to improve it. So I hope to see you all soon in our other webinars, and thank you very much. Please stay safe, take good care of yourself, yours, and your team.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.